Alright, so today we are going to be making a groundhog game, which means we need a groundhog, a mound of some sort for the groundhog to come out of, a hammer, and then we need some scripted functionality. So, let's go ahead and get started. Blender is my favorite modeling website, so I'll be using that to make the hammer, groundhog, and mound models.
2 hours later.
Alright, so here are the models I came up with. You can see this hammer that I made in a cartoonish style along with the groundhog and the little mound. And we're going to use these models in order to start our game. Alright, so the next biggest thing that we need to add into our game are some simple little animations for the hammer and the groundhog so that there's a little more life in the game. I finished a little idle animation for the groundhog and then moved on to making a swing animation for the hammer. Alright, so it's about time that I explained what this game is about. In this game, you are a homeowner, and your backyard is infested with groundhogs, and so your goal is to, by any means necessary, get rid of the groundhogs. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's see what we need to make for the scripting side of things. Alright, so in our first script, we first define replicated storage. Our groundhog has groundhog, which is a Boolean value or a true-false statement, and then our mount, which this script is located inside. Then we define a function. If has groundhog.value is false, then it will clone the groundhog, put that groundhog from replicated storage that was cloned into the mound, and then set the C frame or position of the groundhog and put that at where the mound is as well, change the rotation, and then change has groundhog value to true. And then we have a while true loop that's constantly running this function. So basically, simplified down, this script is just taking every mound, putting a script in it, and in that script, it simply just says that for every single mound, if there ever isn't a groundhog, put a groundhog inside of that mound, and then add a little rotation to it, so it looks a little different than all of the others. Our next script is inside of the server script service, and in this script we have our replicated storage, mound, groundhog, and groundhog holder, which is a folder inside of the workspace. So we have a function here that says start groundhog, and we have a local locations is an empty table, and for I equals 1, 10, 1, which is basically says, do this 10 times. It inserts into the table a C frame that is -50 to 50, and then -50 to 50 on both the X and the Z location. And then it's always at the same Y location. And then for everything inside of the locations table, it's going to clone a mound, and then that mound's primary part C frame is going to be equal to V, or this value, whatever this is. And then we're going to change the rotation of the little mound by a random amount. And then we are going to put the mound inside of the groundhog holder. And then this is just the function is playing start groundhogs. So inside of this script we have a table, and that table is kind of like a backpack that holds all of the things that we want. So in this backpack we are holding a whole bunch of random position values where we want all of our mounds to be. And so we take all of those random values, we put them in the table, and after we put them in the table, we then take them out of the table and put a mound at each of those positions. And after we have a mound at each of those positions, we change its rotation a little so they look different from each other. And then after we've changed their rotation, then we put them inside of a folder in the workspace. Alright, so now that we've got in those two scripts out of the way, and the other two scripts more pertain to what I'm going to be focusing on next video, so I'll save those for later with the hammer. But let's show you what we've got. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.